Hello everybody, I'm here today to talk about Iron Man Epic Collections. Which ones do we have already? Which ones are we still missing? But before we get into that, I want to talk about two books that are coming out. Here is Iron Man Epic Collection, Volume 14, Return of the Ghost. This is a reprint of this volume, and it's coming out on December the 13th. And then Iron Man, The Return of Tony Stark. This is volume 18 in the Epic Collection series, and it's an all-new volume coming out December 20th. Let's take a look inside the contents and then come back after that for our overview about the Iron Man Epic Collections. Let's talk about Iron Man Epic Collection Volume 14, Return of the Ghost. This is the original, and this is the reprint that's coming out soon. There were no printing defects in the original one that I remember, and so there's not really anything to correct. It just went out of print really fast, so they wanted to get another copy up for all of you who missed it. The paper quality is pretty much the same in both of these, which means this volume's not any thicker or thinner than the original. The only way that you're going to be able to tell from the outside cover that this is the reprint is the original price was $40, the new price is $45. Plus, someone decided to hit the return key at the beginning here, which bumped everything down and pushed the little Epic Collection blurb out of the layout. The first thing in this volume is a graphic novel called Crash, and it is done entirely on a computer, which is very, very, very progressive for the late 80s. I'm sure it was not an easy task to do. Definitely looks dated by today's standards, but I'm sure it was a technological wonder when it first hit the newsstands before. This volume deals with the fallout from the Armor Wars, and Iron Man has to kind of get his life back on track. Lots of guest stars, lots of beautiful women. This is what Iron Man's all about. This is the end of the David Michelinie run, and he encounters some of his old foes like, the Return of the Ghost, of course, Blizzard, Grey Gargoyle. And then closing out the book are a couple of airbrushed colored comics from Marvel Fanfare that appear out of continuity, but still fun to experience all of this stuff here. And then here's the new volume, The Return of Tony Stark. And you can see that the book collects Iron Man 290 to 297. Not too many issues from the regular series because this one is packed full of annuals and Marvel superhero issues. Look at all the material from there, and also a one-shot Iron Manual. This is Len Kaminski as the writer, and Iron Man was presumed dead by the public, and Jim Rhodes had taken over as Iron Man for a little while, but now Tony Stark is back to doing what he does best, and that is creating really big guns to fight really big monsters, and he's going to do that several times throughout this book. This is the Infinity Crusade era, so we have some Infinity Crusade tie-in issues here. And then we have some annuals as well, and issues of Marvel Superheroes, which was kind of an anthology book that collected a whole bunch of inventory stories. And yes, this is the first appearance of Squirrel Girl for all of you Squirrel Girl fans. That's going to be included in this one here. And then rounding out the book is the Iron Manual, which is just a whole book full of cross-sections of Iron Man's armor, how it works, the science behind it. Very dense, heavy reading, but just a fun bonus feature if you like this kind of stuff. But where does that leave us with Iron Man Epic Collections? Where are we at with the whole line right now? This is going to be a 20-plus volume line, and we've already got lots of Iron Man Epic Collections. Here are the first two Iron Man Epic Collections, and they collect the Stan Lee run with Don Heck and Gene Colan doing the art. This is the origin of Iron Man. This is the origin of his supporting cast and all of his major villains. All of his greatest early adventures collected in these books. Then we move on to Volume 3 and Volume 4. This is when Archie Goodwin takes over the title after Stan Lee leaves. And this is kind of an odd period for Iron Man, as, you know, Archie Goodwin was pretty consistent for a little while, but then it started having kind of a rotating series of different creators and different writers, as I don't think they really knew what to do with Iron Man. He just kind of kept the status quo as usual. And then Volume 5 comes along. This one's called Battle Royal, and this one is Mike Friedrich as the writer. Again, some not really great Iron Man stories, but notable because Jim Starlin takes a few issues in here and he creates Thanos, and of course, everybody knows Thanos these days. So these are the first 5 Iron Man Epic Collections covering the very first 10 years of Iron Man history. And after that, we get a gap, and we're not going to see another Epic Collection until Volume 10. Volume 10 and 11 take us into the mid-80s. This is the Denny O'Neil and Luke McDonnell run. In fact, this is just 2 out of 3 of the volumes. We don't have the 3rd volume yet. This volume in particular is notable because it was the very first epic collection ever released, Volume 10 of Iron Man. And you'll want to read this one because this is the one where Jim Rhodes takes up the Iron Man mantle for the very first time. Great stories in these volumes here. And then skipping over volume 12, we have the return of Michelinie and Layton as they do yet another little run on Iron Man here with the Armor War storyline, which is going to be a Disney Plus show pretty soon. And then this follow-up volume, The Return of the Ghost, which I mentioned earlier, is going to be reprinted in December. Then we have volumes 15 and 16. This is more Michelinie and Layton as they wrap up their second run there. And then we have a standalone volume from John Byrne with art from people like John Romita Jr. and Paul Ryan and a few others. This is a fun volume if you like these creators and especially if you like that early 90s Marvel comics, which I really like. In volume 17 and 18, Len Kaminski takes up the writing chores, and this is the apparent death of Tony Stark, which means that Jim Rhodes must once again become Iron Man, and in fact he creates a new persona, War Machine. For fans of War Machine, this is where you want to get started with his journey to comic stardom. So after we skip over volume 19, we have this one here, volume 20, In the Hands of Evil, which is kind of the very mid-90s, very extreme, and War Machine and Force Works tie into this title in a big story called In the Hands of the Mandarin. And this is as far as we've gotten with the Iron Man Epic Collection so far. There should be a couple more volumes after this. In fact, volume 21 has been announced already, and it's going to be coming up in 2023. It's the first part of the Crossing story, the big Avengers multi-part story, and that one's coming out next year. But that gives us 14 volumes of Iron Man. There are so many volumes out already, and there's still more to come. So I hope you enjoyed this overview, and I hope you enjoy reading your Iron Man comics.